Learning English has never been easier.
Get 1% better every day with TEEP, the Easy English podcast.
I'm Lucas.
I'm Emma.
Hey there. Before we jump in, if you've been enjoying our episodes, please share this one with your friends so they can learn too. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and give us a big thumbs up. It really helps us grow. Your support honestly means the world to us. Thank you for being here.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into how certain English phrases can unintentionally come off as rude.
Absolutely. It's fascinating how slight word choices can affect the tone so dramatically.
Right. For instance, consider when someone says, "Give me a pen." Without the extra words like please, it sounds very commanding. Instead, a simple, "Could you give me a pen, please?" transforms the message into a gentle request.
Exactly. The magic word please works wonders. And then there's when you, fail to catch what was said and just blurt out what in a sharp tone.
Yep, that's another pitfall. Instead of coming off as impatient, saying sorry or pardon shows you're engaged and value the conversation. It softens the impact considerably.
It's amazing how just a single word can, pivot the entire tone of a conversation. Speaking of which, what about the phrase, "You should go on a diet"?
Good point. Saying you should sounds like you're not just offering advice, but kind of imposing an order. A more tactful approach might be, "Have you thought about," or maybe "you could try." That way you're gently suggesting without coming off as judgmental.
Right, subtle rephrasing definitely makes a difference. It's like you're offering guidance rather than giving a command.
Exactly. And then there's the issue with abrupt negatives. If you simply say no, it might come off as cold. Instead, adding a bit more context, like, "I'm sorry, but I can't," or "I'd love to, but I'm a bit tied up right now," turns that refusal into something kind and considerate. It really cushions the blow.
Totally, it makes interactions feel more human. Also, another mistake highlighted is skipping greetings or any small talk, right?
Right on. In many cultures, straight-to-the-point dialogues might be the norm, but in English, starting with a friendly greeting, say instead of "Where is the manager?" you could begin with "Hi there, how are you?" Sets a warm tone right away. It's a simple yet powerful shift.
It really is like putting a smile into your words, which can, make all the difference in connecting with someone.
Absolutely. It underscores that social buffers, such as a quick greeting, are not just formalities, they're essential for building rapport.
And then there's the direct, sometimes harsh, "You're wrong." That phrase, when said plainly, can escalate tensions when contributing to a conversation.
Exactly. A softening approach, like, "I see it differently," or "actually, I think," invites a discussion rather than shutting one down. It's a respectful way to express differing opinions.
I agree, though I sometimes wonder if, being too soft might come off as evasive. What do you think about that?
That's a fair point.
Right.
In certain scenarios, a balance is key. You want to be firm, but not confrontational. It's about calibrating your tone to the context of the conversation.
Yes, it's definitely a balancing act. Too much directness can seem aggressive, yet too much cushioning might dilute the intended message.
True. And speaking of balance, even in cases of misunderstanding, like not catching what someone said, opting for a clear yet polite, "Sorry, could you repeat that?" maintains the respectful vibe. It shows you're listening while keeping the mood friendly.
Right, it's really about fostering a conversational atmosphere where everyone feels respected. Even minor tweaks, as we've seen, can, shift that dynamic completely.
Precisely. What's nice is that these aren't hard rules. They're simply adjustments that can help you sound more natural and confident in everyday language.
Yeah.
The suggested changes are small, but with a huge impact on interpersonal communication.
It reminds me of how learning a language isn't just about vocabulary and grammar, but also about cultural nuances and the emotional undertones behind the words.
Exactly. It's like tuning an instrument. Even if you know the notes, playing them softly or loudly can change the entire piece. And these tips help you hit just the right note in conversation.
Well said. And what about the recap part where practical examples, like how to ask, "Could I see the menu, please?" instead of barking, "Give me the menu," really cement these ideas?
That recap is super useful. It drives home how simple adjustments, adding a greeting or a polite qualifier, guide the
Right.
conversation in a more positive way. Those visual comparisons help learners see the difference in real scenarios.
It's almost as if the experience of adopting these changes makes you feel more, connected to those around you.
Absolutely, because using polite phrases isn't just about etiquette, it's about fostering kindness and good social relations. It's a valuable lesson for anyone learning English.
And here's an interesting thought. Sometimes learners might feel these extra words are unnecessary or overly formal. How do you balance being respectful without sounding too stiff?
I respectfully think that context is key. In casual settings, you can still be polite without sounding pompous.
Right.
It's about the natural flow of conversation while still incorporating those small, polite upgrades.
Yeah, there's a fine line between being courteous and being overly formal, and I guess practice and exposure help with that.
Exactly. It's like training your ear to naturally pick up on and use these phrases until they become second nature. The more you listen and practice, the better you get at striking that balance.
And in our day-to-day encounters, these small adjustments can really enhance mutual respect and understanding.
Correct. It's not just about being grammatically correct, but also ensuring that your tone aligns with the intended message. This way, you
Yeah.
avoid unintended rudeness.
And it's interesting to note how these phrases often get lost in translation. Learners might directly translate from their native languages, where directness might not be an issue.
Yep, that's a major point. Recognizing that what works in one language might not carry over politely into English is the first step towards making those positive changes. It really emphasizes the importance of cultural context in language learning.
I completely agree. Just imagine how much smoother conversations would be if everyone applied these subtle techniques.
Exactly. And looking ahead, there's promise in further discussions on more situational polite phrases, like what to say out at a restaurant or during business meetings. It'll be exciting to explore those contexts next.
Absolutely, it's like leveling up your conversational skills, one phrase at a time.
Right on. Every small improvement in tone and word choice really matters and can transform not just how you're perceived, but how you connect with others.
Yeah.
That's the real power behind language.
Well, these insights surely pave the way for more natural and, respectful interactions. Thanks for unpacking these tips today. It's been a really engaging session.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into some super polite English phrases that native speakers use all the time.
Yeah, it's really interesting how just a slight tweak in phrasing can make all the difference.
Absolutely. So let's kick things off with, would you mind? This phrase is one of the most gracious ways to ask for help.
Right. Instead of just saying "do this," you say "would you mind helping me?" which, of course, makes it way softer.
Exactly. For instance, if you're at a form at the office, you might say, would you mind helping me with sounds this form? Much less demanding.
Oh, totally. And what I really like about it is that it respects the other person's time and feelings.
Right. And another similar phrase is it okay if? This one is particularly useful when you're asking for permission.
Like when you say, "Is it okay if I sit here?" which is, a really nice approach.
Yeah, it gently checks in with the other person. Now, some folks might also say, would it be all right if, which basically achieves the same goal.
True, both of these are like open doors, they give permission rather than mandate it.
Then there's the all-time classic, excuse me. Using that phrase really shows that you care about the other person's space before interrupting them or asking a question.
Absolutely, like when you need directions or help in a crowded place, a simple "excuse me, could you tell me where the bathroom is?" goes a long way.
Exactly. And even in moments when you've accidentally bumped into someone, it's like a verbal "I'm sorry" before you even begin.
Right, it adds that layer of respect which is so essential in social interactions.
Now, another interesting phrase is "sorry to bother you," but this one's super handy, especially in professional or service contexts.
It kind of prefaces your request with an apology, acknowledging that you're interrupting their flow.
Yeah, exactly. Like if you're in the middle of someone's busy day, say, "Sorry to bother you, but do you have a minute?" It softens the interruption.
That's, very thoughtful. But I sometimes wonder if overusing apologies can make us seem, less confident.
That's a valid point. It can come off as overly tentative if used all the time, but in contexts where politeness is key, especially in formal settings, it really works.
Yeah, I get what you mean. Right, balance is key. And speaking of balance, there's also "would it be possible to," which is more formal but super clear.
Yep, like in an email asking, "Would it be possible to reschedule our meeting?" That phrase is very mild and professional.
And it shows that you're considering the other party's schedule too.
And then we have, "I was wondering if," which I think is one of my favorites because it sounds so gentle and curious.
Oh yeah, it's perfect for inquiries. Like, "I was wondering if there's any update on my application?" It doesn't feel like a demand at all.
Exactly. It opens up a space for dialogue rather than confrontation.
Yeah, definitely. Then there's the phrase "I'd appreciate it if," which adds a subtle note of gratitude to your request.
Right? For example, "I'd really appreciate it if you could send that to me today." It conveys both your need and your thankfulness without imposing too harshly.
It's like saying, "Your help matters to me," without overdoing it.
Another neat phrase is "let me double check." It's a graceful way to convey uncertainty without sounding insecure.
Yeah, instead of just saying "I don't know," you check and then respond, which sounds much more proactive.
Exactly. And then, when delays happen, saying "thanks for your patience" signals that you recognize their weight and truly value their time.
It's a nice, calm way to handle interruptions or delays, especially in customer service contexts.
And let's not forget the bonus phrases, the quick, friendly ones like "no worries," when you want to assure someone, or "take your time," when patience is key.
Right, and even "that would be great, thanks," is a simple yet effective way to confirm plans or ask for something casually.
Yeah, these little phrases really can transform an everyday conversation into something more refined and thoughtful.
Exactly. Now, here's a neat challenge they throw in: try picking 3 of these phrases and using them in real conversations.
Exactly, like a mini experiment. Just try it out. "Excuse me, could you help me?" Or "would it be possible to reschedule?" Or even a friendly "thanks for your patience." It's a fun way to build your polite English skills.
I think that's such a practical tip. Sometimes, small changes in phrasing can really flip how messages are received.
Absolutely. And in the next episode, they plan to dive into tone and body language because, well, sometimes it's not just what you say, it's how you say it.
Exactly. I mean, you could say "sorry to bother you" in a monotone voice, and it wouldn't hit the same, right?
Exactly. It's like an orchestra of words and gestures. You need both the right phrases and the right tone to truly communicate politely and effectively.
Yeah, that's true. I've noticed that sometimes people, feel that these phrases are too scripted. What do you think about that?
Well, I think it really depends on how you use them. It's less about memorizing and more about um, internalizing politeness as part of your natural language. You gotta let them flow naturally, don't you think?
Yeah, I agree. If you overthink it, it might come off as mechanical. It's all about blending it in with your own style.
Exactly. And here's a little analogy. It's like seasoning food. A little salt can make the dish pop, but too much can ruin it.
That's spot on. Honestly, these frameworks are really useful, especially for non-native speakers looking to boost their confidence in real-life situations.
Absolutely. It's all about being accessible and kind, and these phrases help you bridge the gap between formalities and everyday chatter.
And when you combine these phrases with a friendly tone and body language, it all just clicks.
Right. It's an ongoing learning process. These phrases, used correctly, can make interactions smoother and more pleasant for everyone involved.
Yeah. So, as a takeaway, it's all about practice. Try out 3 phrases today and see how they transform your conversations.
Exactly. And keep experimenting. The more naturally you use them, the more they'll become part of your everyday language.
I'm excited to see how little tweaks like these can, elevate daily interactions.
For sure. And that wraps up our deep dive into polite English phrases. Keep practicing, stay kind, and we'll catch you next time when we explore tone and body language.
Thanks for the insights. Until next time.
Welcome back, everyone. Today we're diving into a really interesting piece about how it's not just what you say, but how you say it.
Yeah, it's like, a whole new layer of language we often overlook, right?
Exactly. It's super crucial. Our tone, body language, and facial expressions really shape our message.
Yeah,
Think about it. The same words can convey warmth or sharpness depending on how they're delivered.
Absolutely. And did you catch that analogy about saying, "Can you help me?" with a smile versus with frustration? It's a perfect example of how tone changes the vibe completely.
Right? It's almost like, how someone might say, "Can you help me?" with the right kind of energy versus a flat delivery. It's like the difference between a clear invitation and a command, yeah?
Exactly. And it's interesting that many English learners fall into the trap of sounding too direct, simply because they forget to soften their tone.
Yep, and that's a common misstep. It's not about having fancy words. It's about being gentle, like adding a friendly please and keeping that tone warm.
True. I mean, it's, true that adding please is a simple tweak but makes a massive difference.
And then there's body language. Think about it. Crossed arms, no eye contact, stiff posture. These signals can scream unapproachable or even nervy.
Yep,
On the
absolutely.
flip side, open arms, slight nods, and light gestures project friendliness and openness.
Right, I mean, it's like even without words, our body just tells the story, yeah?
Definitely. And here's something that always struck me. Practicing with a mirror or even recording yourself. It's a bit awkward, but it really helps you catch those subtle cues in your tone and movement. Have you ever tried it?
True. I have, actually, and it's, eye-opening. You see things you wouldn't normally notice, like, if your smile doesn't quite match your words or if you look a bit too stern.
Exactly. And it brings us to facial expressions. They literally tell a story at times. A small smile can completely soften a sentence.
Right, yeah.
It's like your face becomes an extension of your words.
Speaking of that, think about the example given, saying, "Can I ask you something?" with a smile versus a blank or annoyed face. Which one feels friendlier, right?
For sure. And, it's not about fake smiles, but rather genuine expressions that align with the intended emotion.
Yeah, but here's where I kinda want to challenge that a bit. Sometimes, when you're trying too hard to mirror native speakers, it can come off as, well, inauthentic.
Valid point. That's a fair critique. I mean, sure, watching native speakers like on YouTube or in movies can be a great model, but it's important not to lose your own natural style in the process.
Yep, exactly.
You want to learn the
Yeah,
rhythm without feeling like you're impersonating someone else.
absolutely. It's like finding your own voice while learning how to express it more effectively.
Yep, and the suggestion to practice different versions of a phrase really stands out. I mean, try saying a sentence in 3 ways: flat tone, rude tone, and kind tone. It shows by contrast how a simple change in delivery can change everything.
True. Right, it's like a mini exercise in self-awareness. And when you see that the kind tone gets you better responses, it reinforces the value of practice.
Exactly, because even a small change in tone can have a huge impact on how others perceive you, especially in English-speaking environments where nonverbal cues pack a lot of weight.
Yeah, And isn't it fascinating that the final challenge was so simple? Choose one polite sentence, practice the 3 variants, and then use the kind version in real life. It's really actionable advice.
Definitely, it's like taking theory and turning it directly into practice. It encourages you not to just learn the rules, but to actively implement them.
Exactly, yeah. I guess what stands out to me is that polite communication isn't superficial. It's really about genuine connection through tone, expression, and body language.
Absolutely. You know, it's like building an invisible bridge with your entire body. The words are just one part of that entire connection.
Right. And sometimes, we might focus so much on vocabulary and grammar that we miss these subtle cues that make our interactions warm and inviting.
Yes, indeed. In fact, many English learners might struggle with this because their native language might have different norms or less reliance on such expressive nonverbal cues.
True, exactly. I appreciate the emphasis on mirroring native speakers, yet also the reminder to maintain your authenticity.
And it's so practical too. Like, use your phone or a mirror. It's simple but effective. This hands-on approach makes it more than just theory.
Right, really down-to-earth advice. Also, it underlines the idea that learning good communication is a continuous process. Even small adjustments, like a smile or a slight tilt of the head, can build your confidence over time.
Exactly. And it reminds us that cultural context matters a lot. In many English-speaking cultures, these nonverbal cues can really determine how your message is received.
Yeah, it's all interconnected, right? Right, and speaking of interconnectedness, sometimes I wonder if, too much focus on nonverbal skills could, overwhelm a learner who's still grappling with basic language constructs.
That's an interesting angle. I mean, it's true that for beginners, juggling grammar, vocabulary, and body language might be daunting. However, these tips seem more suited for intermediate learners who are ready to polish their skills, not overwhelm them.
I see what you mean. Exactly. It's more about refinement than being a beginner crash course.
Right. And look, if you consider every interaction as a chance to practice these cues, you'll gradually find that it becomes second nature, almost like a dance between words and expressions.
Like a well-choreographed conversation. Yes, a conversation dance, indeed. And the beauty is, you don't have to be perfect, just authentic and attentive.
Totally. And incorporating a friendly please, smiling naturally, and keeping an open posture, these are small actions that invite positive communication, yeah?
Absolutely. It's a compelling reminder that mastering a language is not just about the words, it's about engaging hearts and minds through every nuance of our delivery.
Exactly. And it all ties back to the idea that being mindful of our tone, body language, and facial expression can make a big, lasting difference in our interactions.
Yep, couldn't agree more. So, if you're out there, remember, practice these elements, pay attention to the subtleties, and let your authentic self shine through in every conversation.
Well said. And with that, we'll leave you with the final challenge. Try out that 3-way practice exercise and see how subtle variations can transform your communication.
Exactly. Give it a go. Thanks for joining this chat. Keep practicing, stay confident, and let your true tone be heard.
Until next time, keep that conversation not just smart, but kind. Great job today. Your effort and perseverance are what make the difference.
Thank you for learning with us, and don't forget to check out the next video.